Juicy!
Sunshine. Gummi bounced in a field of giant gummies. She bit one. It tasted like sunshine. Suddenly, the gummies shook. A giant gummy bird swooped down. Sunshine ran. She tripped. The bird opened its beak. Sunshine screamed and woke up.
Bad dream?
Giant bird. Gummy beak.
Just a dream. Now help me fix this cart.
Little did they know, Sunshine's dream was about to become reality. The sorcerer stomped into his workshop.
My flying car broke again.
His raven, Corley, cawed in agreement.
Always with the flying car.
The sorcerer grumbled about unreliable magic and pesky gummy bears. Suddenly, an idea struck him.
The Gummi Bears, they have that springy juice.
Corley raised an eyebrow.
You want to steal from Gummi Bears? Again, not steal, borrow. It's for science.
The gummy bears gathered around Gruffy's latest invention. It was a cart.
This is your amazing invention?
It's not finished. It needs gummy berry juice for extra bounce.
Sunshine approached with a bucket. As she poured the juice, a strange wind picked up. Before anyone could react, a net scooped Sunshine away. The gummy bears cried in unison. S4, Media Group. Gummy bears shouting, animated characters calling out at stock at distribute_equally. Sunshine! They were fascinated by her gummy bounce. Sunshine, the adventurous bear, had always been known for her incredible bouncing skills. Her friends often marveled at how high she could leap and how gracefully she could land. Today, however, was different. As she performed her signature bounce, a group of strange bird-like creatures appeared, their eyes wide with amazement. Strange bird-like creatures surrounded her, chirping excitedly. They had never seen anything like Sunshine before. Their chirps were a mix of curiosity and excitement, as if they were trying to communicate with her. Sunshine, though initially startled, couldn't help but feel a bit flattered by the attention. She tried to understand their chirps, but it was all a mystery to her. Sunshine found herself in a nest high on a mountain peak. The view was breathtaking, with the vast expanse of the forest below and the clear blue sky above. But as beautiful as it was, Sunshine felt a pang of anxiety. How did she get here? And more importantly, how would she get down?
Let me go! Sunshine shouted, her voice echoing through the mountains. She struggled against the nest's confines, but it was no use. The bird-like creatures seemed to think she was one of them now, and they weren't about to let her leave.
And tried to teach her their bird dances. They flapped their wings and hopped around, trying to show Sunshine the steps. Despite her predicament, Sunshine couldn't help but chuckle at their earnest attempts. She tried to mimic their movements, but her bare body wasn't built for such delicate maneuvers. Meanwhile, the Gummi Bears searched frantically for Sunshine. They combed through the forest, calling out her name and hoping for a response. Each passing moment without a sign of her made their hearts sink deeper with worry. They offered her strange berries, hoping to cheer her up. The berries were unlike anything Sunshine had ever seen, with vibrant colours and an enticing aroma. She hesitated for a moment before taking a bite, and to her surprise, they were delicious. The creatures chirped happily, pleased with her reaction. The creatures didn't understand why Sunshine was so distressed. To them, she was a new friend, someone to share their world with. They couldn't fathom why she would want to leave. Their puzzled expressions only made Sunshine feel more isolated.
We'll never find her! One of the Gummi Bears exclaimed, their voice filled with despair. The forest seemed endless, and with no clues to guide them, their search felt increasingly hopeless.
Grammy said, her voice trembling. She had always been the heart of the group, and seeing her so shaken only deepened the others' resolve. They couldn't give up now, not when Sunshine needed them the most.
We have to try. Another bear rallied the group, determination shining in their eyes. They couldn't let despair take over. Sunshine was out there somewhere, and they would find her, no matter what it took.
Zumi noticed something on the ground. It was a small, glinting object, partially buried under the leaves. He bent down to pick it up, his heart racing with anticipation.
And a piece of metal. It was unlike anything they had seen before, with strange markings and a faint, mystical glow. Zumi's eyes widened as he realized its significance. "Look! Feathers!" he pointed out, his voice filled with urgency. The feathers were a clue, a sign that they were on the right track. The group exchanged hopeful glances, their spirits lifting.
Gruffy growled. He had a hunch about who was behind this. His fists clenched in anger. He was ready to confront whoever had taken Sunshine.
The sorcerer, this is his doing! The realization hit them like a bolt of lightning. The sorcerer had always been a thorn in their side, and now he had taken Sunshine. But the Gummi Bears were not about to let him win. They would rescue Sunshine and bring her back home, no matter the cost.
The Gummi Bears journeyed to the sorcerer's castle. They found him trying to fix his car.
Where's Sunshine?
Who?
The sorcerer feigned ignorance.
And before you ask, we needed gummy berry juice for my car. They live in the mountains. The bird creatures took her.
You put Sunshine in danger for a car?
The sorcerer shrugged.
It's for science. See, almost ready.
The Gummi Bears were furious, but they had to save Sunshine. Gruffy had an idea. The Gummi Bears had always been a close-knit group, and when one of their own was in trouble, they would stop at nothing to help. Sunshine, their dear friend, had been captured by the ogres, and time was running out. Gruffy, known for his quick thinking and resourcefulness, gathered everyone around to discuss a plan. "We need to act fast," he said, his voice filled with determination. "But we need to be smart about it."
We'll use the juice to make a gummy glider. The gummy berry juice had always been a magical elixir for the Gummi Bears, giving them extraordinary abilities. Gruffy's plan was to harness this power to create a glider that could help them reach Sunshine quickly and safely. The idea was met with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Can we really do this?" one of the Gummi Bears asked, holding up a bottle of the precious juice. "We have to try," Gruffy replied, his eyes shining with resolve.
They gathered leftover materials and combined them with gummy berry juice. The Gummi Bears worked tirelessly, each one contributing their unique skills to the project. They scavenged for materials, finding bits and pieces that could be repurposed for their glider. The gummy berry juice was carefully mixed with the materials, creating a concoction that was both strong and flexible. It was a true team effort, and the sense of camaraderie was palpable. "This is going to work," Gruffy said, more to himself than anyone else, as he watched the glider take shape. The result was a small but surprisingly sturdy glider. It was a marvel of gummy engineering, a testament to their ingenuity and determination. The glider was small enough to be agile, yet sturdy enough to withstand the journey ahead. The Gummi Bears stood back and admired their handiwork, a sense of pride swelling in their hearts. "It's perfect," one of them said, running a hand along the smooth surface of the glider. "Now we just need a pilot."
Who's going to fly it? The question hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Each of the Gummi Bears looked at one another, weighing their options. Flying the glider would be a dangerous task, but it was also an opportunity to be a hero. "We need someone brave," Gruffy said, his eyes scanning the group. "Someone who can handle the pressure and stay focused."
I will! I've always wanted to fly! Cubby Gummy stepped forward, his eyes alight with excitement. He had always dreamed of flying, and this was his chance to make that dream a reality. "Are you sure, Cubby?" one of the Gummi Bears asked, concern evident in their voice. "Absolutely," Cubby replied, his voice steady and confident. "I can do this."
Zumi looked worried. Zumi Gummi, the eldest and wisest of the group, couldn't hide his concern. He knew the risks involved and the dangers that lay ahead. "Be careful, Cubby," he said softly, his voice tinged with worry. "We can't afford to lose you too." Cubby nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "I will, Zumi, I promise."
"Be careful, Cubby." The rest of the Gummi Bears echoed Zumi's sentiment, their voices a chorus of concern and encouragement. "You can do it, Cubby. Be safe. We're counting on you." Cubby took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their expectations on his shoulders. But he also felt their support, and it gave him the strength he needed.
With a mix of excitement and fear, Cubby climbed into the glider. The cockpit was snug, but it felt right. He adjusted the controls, familiarizing himself with the layout. His heart was pounding, but he was ready. "Here we go," he whispered to himself, gripping the controls tightly. With a mighty bounce, he soared into the air. The glider lifted off the ground, propelled by the powerful gummy berry juice. Cubby felt a rush of exhilaration as he soared into the sky, the wind whipping through his fur. Below, the Gummi Bears watched in awe, their hearts filled with hope. "Go, Cubby, go!" they cheered, their voices carrying on the wind. The adventure had begun, and there was no turning back now. Cubby flew the glider towards the mountain peak. The bird creatures noticed him and surrounded the glider, chirping curiously.
I need your help. My friend is up there.
The creatures seemed to understand. They guided Cubby to their nest and formed a bridge with their bodies, allowing Cubby to reach Sunshine.
Cubby, you came!
We all came.
Cubby corrected, pointing to the other gummy bears who were climbing the mountain using ropes and their trusty gummy berry juice bounce. Reunited, the gummy bears thanked the bird creatures for their help. The air was filled with joy and relief as the gummy bears expressed their heartfelt gratitude. The bird creatures, with their vibrant feathers and kind eyes, had come to their rescue at the perfect moment. It was a scene of mutual respect and newfound friendship. The gummy bears, who had been through so much, finally felt a sense of peace and safety. They knew they couldn't have made it without the help of these noble bird creatures. They even shared some gummy berry juice, which the creatures seemed to enjoy. The magical beverage, known for its energizing properties, was a hit among the bird creatures. They chirped happily, their spirits lifted by the sweet and tangy drink. The gummy bears watched with smiles, feeling a deep sense of camaraderie. It was a moment of celebration, a time to relax and enjoy the company of their new friends. The bond between the gummy bears and the bird creatures grew stronger with each passing moment.
Let's go home. The words were filled with a mix of exhaustion and contentment. The gummy bears had been on a long journey, and the thought of returning home brought a sense of comfort. They began to gather their belongings, preparing for the trip back. The bird creatures watched, their eyes reflecting a sense of understanding and farewell. It was time to part ways, but the memories of this adventure would stay with them forever.
As they prepared to leave, the sorcerer appeared in his repaired flying car. The sight of the sorcerer sent a shiver down their spines. His presence was a stark reminder of the dangers they had faced. The flying car, now gleaming and fully functional, hovered menacingly above them. The gummy bears braced themselves, unsure of what the sorcerer had planned next. The air was thick with tension as they waited for his next move.
Aha, now to test my invention. The sorcerer's voice was filled with excitement and anticipation. He held up a strange device, its purpose unknown. The gummy bears watched in apprehension as he began to fiddle with the gadget. The bird creatures, sensing the danger, prepared to defend their friends. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of curiosity and fear. What was the sorcerer planning, and how would they stop him?
He swooped down to grab Sunshine, but the bird creatures intervened, pecking at the car and driving him away. The scene was chaotic as the bird creatures launched their attack. Their sharp beaks and swift movements were too much for the sorcerer to handle. He tried to fend them off, but their determination was unwavering. Sunshine, the gummy bear's beloved friend, was safe thanks to the bravery of the bird creatures. The sorcerer, realizing he was outmatched, retreated in frustration.
Looks like you owe us one, furballs. The playful taunt was met with laughter and cheers. The gummy bears couldn't help but feel a sense of triumph. They had faced their fears and come out victorious thanks to their new friends. The bird creatures chirped in agreement, their eyes twinkling with mischief. It was a moment of light-heartedness after the intense battle. The bond between the gummy bears and the bird creatures was stronger than ever.
The sorcerer shouted as he flew away in defeat. His voice echoed through the sky, filled with anger and frustration. The gummy bears watched as he disappeared into the distance, a sense of relief washing over them. They had won this battle, but they knew the sorcerer would be back. For now, they could enjoy their victory and the peace that came with it. The adventure had brought them closer together, and they were ready for whatever came next. Safe at home, the gummy bears reflected on their adventure.
I'm sorry I doubted your invention, Gruffy. The gummy glider was amazing!
We all learned something today. Even old gummy bears can be wrong.
And sometimes even scary dreams can have happy endings.
From that day on, Cubby dreamt of flying, and the gummy bears knew that even in the highest nest, friendship could set you free.